Okay. That's it. It's over. Michigan had a good run. You know, we were looking forward to the 2025 season, but they have now suffered a massive blow to the 2025 roster. Okay, not really, but we'll get into it in just a second. First off, this is the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show. Thank you so much for hanging out, and thank you so much for 1,920 subscribers. Really appreciate you guys chilling with us for a bit, including you, the 86% who have not subscribed just yet. I'm watching you. I'm not sure why you haven't. It's ridiculous, frankly, and honestly, really selfish. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into it. Well, you might as well throw in the towel for 2025 because Michigan's starting punter has retired. Luke Bauer, who is expected to compete for the starting punter position this fall, took one look at Bryce Underwood and said, "Screw that, I'm never punting again, might as well get a job or something." Okay, so maybe he didn't actually say that, but certainly the sentiment was there. Now, honestly, it is a bummer for Michigan, who relied on their special teams to generate most of their offense in 2024. But with pundits everywhere declaring that Bryce Underwood is the second coming of Chad Henne, only better, it's entirely possible that special teams will be relegated to just those certain but infrequent times when Michigan doesn't convert a third down, something Ohio State really wouldn't understand. But never fear, because the punter who punted in the ReliaQuest Bowl, Hudson Hollenback, is returning to Michigan this fall. Hudson Hollenback was instrumental in Michigan's victory against Alabama, punting no less than 6 times for 277 yards. Yes, that's right. Michigan had more yards punting than they did total offense and still beat a top 15 Alabama team. And they wanted to go to the playoffs. Okay. He also pinned the Crimson Tide inside their own 20-yard line twice, something the offense was incredibly grateful for. Now, Michigan did add Division II punter Hunter Robinson into the mix, who averaged 43.2 yards per punt on 51 attempts last season. So certainly the punter position is in good shape for Michigan to underutilize this season, what with Cam Newton 2.0 ready to start at quarterback. Now, Ohio State fans might laugh at how often Michigan underutilizes their special teams, and honestly, I don't blame them, because no player for Ohio State has more yards against Michigan than the punter. All right, let's get into Feedback Friday. I posted yesterday, or maybe it was 2 days ago, I can't remember, what position group are you most concerned about for Michigan? And that's what we're going to look into here. So we've got Mike Workman, 1759, definitely offensive line. This team lives and dies via the offensive line. Good OL helps the rookie quarterback settle into read defenses and the offensive line opens up holes for the run game. I can read. I didn't go to Michigan, so you can't blame me. Need them boys to be elite again. I agree. We definitely need Michigan's offense to have a solid offensive line. I've got some good news on that, and I'll get to it in just a second. 301, go blue, hail Mich 1. Go blue. Definitely O-line. O-line can make everyone look good or bad. Yeah, well, just ask Rick Ross. Ask Rich Rod what he thinks of an offensive line. Ross Schickson, you told me how to pronounce that in another comment, and I already forgot. I'm really sorry, dude. Gotta be offensive line. Need a good OL to give a young QB offense or confidence. Wow. Yeah, I completely agree. Natty Times 517 coming in with some trolls here. Coaches once the hammer drops. It's funny, but coaching isn't a position group, so clearly you're a moron. No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing with you. SDB 1218, punter. The brand new transfer came in and seemingly took the job right before camp. Michigan has to recruit better punters. I don't disagree with that, especially given the news that we just had. But Hudson Hollenback is back for Michigan, and honestly, what are the chances that the punter gets hurt? Of course, now that I've said that, yeah, I'm getting it. Oop, there goes my phone. Got to knock on some wood now, because now that I've said that, Hollenbeck is in quite a bit of trouble. Eric Riffle 8954 says QB, not because I don't have faith in the current players and coaches, but because it was such a glaring problem last year. Yeah, I talked about, I think in my last video, that Chip Lindsey is pretty excited about what's going on with the offense, or with the quarterback room. Jack Tuttle also had said that he is really excited about what's going on with the quarterback room. That Bryce Underwood is just, he's physically gifted. He slings the ball better than, he said, Trevor Lawrence, J.J. McCarthy already, and that he is also being noted as just incredibly mature and incredibly football smart. So a lot of the concerns we have about quarterback and the fact that a lot of us Michigan fans are like, do we pump the brakes on the true freshman or not? All of those concerns may fall by the wayside against Oklahoma, frankly. And it sounds like there is quite a bit of confidence that Michigan's offense is going to be just fine with Bryce Underwood, and that, yeah, a true freshman mistake might happen here or there, but not nearly as much as maybe we would think. Okay, getting back to the offensive line. Mike Workman, 1759, Go Blue, Hillmish, 1. Ross Hickson, sorry, dude. All saying the O-line, and I agree with you. I think the O-line is probably the biggest concern for Michigan right now, and that brings me to this story from the Wolverine. Michigan OC Chip Lindsey to the Wolverine on freshman left tackle Andrew Babaloa. Babs is really intelligent. Sometimes what keeps guys from reaching their early potential is figuring out the calls or the fronts. I like the progress he's making, but we'll see. In this day and age, though, if they're ready, you play them. He's not shutting down that Andrew Babaloa could potentially start at that left tackle position. I can't remember the other guy's name, but he was Evan Link, I think it was. He is making progress at that left tackle position. He played that position against Alabama, and that was really the main trouble spot coming into 2025 was how were they going to answer the problems at left tackle? And it sounds like they've got their answers. They're just young. Evan Link, hopefully he takes that next step and can really be what Michigan needs there, but Andrew Babaloa is definitely waiting in the wings, and it sounds like there is potentially the chance that he starts. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Dominic Zavada is on the Lou Groza award list. I was talking about special teams. He's on the Lou Groza award watch list. So Zavada-matic is back. But this is, okay, so this is a different story from the Wolverine. I don't have access to the first one because they put it behind a paywall. Thanks, guys. What are you trying to make money or whatever? Michigan has a slew of O-linemen, including freshmen in the mix. We have at least 10 guys competing for those spots. Now, you can read that and you can say, great, or you can read that and be like, oh, crap. It's all about the best 5 players on the offensive line at Michigan Wolverines football under Sherrone, who coached that position unit from 21 to 23 before taking over as head coach in 2024. So you got to think, Michigan has experienced coaches with the offensive line. Obviously Sherrone has been there for quite some time, so he knows what he's expecting from the offensive line. I think the question is, do they have the players to really get them there, and do those players have enough experience? And experience, I think, is probably not the case, but if they can gel, if they can really figure things out and how to work together coming into the season, then the experience will come as the season goes on. The problem is that Oklahoma game. Not to say that they couldn't struggle against other teams, but if the offensive line is struggling with Bryce Underwood's mobility, perhaps that could actually bail them out of some situations. And I'm not saying that you want to rely on that, because you absolutely don't. And Bryce Underwood's ability to bail Michigan's offensive line out of bad situations is not a proven strategy. You don't want to rely on that. So you definitely still need some cohesion there, but it could buy Michigan's offensive line some time, and it could get them some experience. The Wolverines saw players with starting experience leave the program for the transfer portal following the 24 campaign, such as Dominic Jadis, Jeffrey Percy, and Andrew Gentry. Yeah, these are all big losses. That really sucks. Still, Michigan has 3 returning starters. Graduate Greg Crippen, that's huge. Graduate Giovanni El Hadi, that's huge as well. And then junior Evan Link. Evan Link was the one we were talking about earlier. There were some questions there. He does have some experience. So that's definitely good to see. And that's most of the offensive line right there. The question is can we get some of the younger guys who are going to be rotating in? Can they get, gelled in? Can they all work together the way that they need to? Michigan position coach Grant Newsome said in March that he felt there were 6 or 7 or 8 players in the mix to be in the starting lineup, but optimism has grown when it comes to depth and competition, and so has that number. I feel better this year that we have at least 10 guys competing for those 5 spots, where I think it was maybe 6 or 7 the year before. I feel like there are 10 guys competing, so no one can relax. When you have that, then you feel like you've got good competition. You can get better every single day. Yeah, the more players they have that could potentially take those positions, the better those players are going to get, because they have to be. Nothing is safe. And obviously, you don't want the mentality of players saying like, yeah, I'm a for sure starter, so I'm just going to back off and not really try very hard, because that's how you get in trouble in the season. Crippen and El Hadi are penciled in as starters at center and left guard, respectively. And then Evan Link is in a battle with Andrew Babaloa and sophomore Blake Frazier to get that left tackle position. Redshirt freshman Andrew Sprague is in the mix in the lead at right tackle. He impressed against Alabama. That's definitely true. But freshman Ty Haywood is pushing. And all of these names, they're good players. They've got a lot of talent. So there is definitely reason to be optimistic about Michigan's offensive line this year. Are they going to win the Joe Moore? I don't think so. I think that they need some time. But they've got the talent and they've got the coaching. The next thing they need to get into place is the experience. And I think they'll get there. It's just that Oklahoma game that I think could really maybe trip them up. Okay, let's go through some of your other comments. So I had mentioned in my last video, Michigan football's Bryce Underwood draws comparisons to somebody, JJ McCarthy, I think it was, that maybe we would go full on Michigan coverage and potentially cover basketball. Dwayne Froze 1254 says, please don't cover basketball. There's enough hybrid channels that do that. And for us football purists, it is a deterrent, honestly. All right. I mean, no skin off my back. I don't want to have to learn the ins and outs of another sport, and I barely have the ins and outs of this sport, so whatever. Chris Stake 2210 says they ruined our season. If you mean Michigan ruined Ohio State's season, then yes, I agree. Natty or not. Jack Package 4278 says, oh, that's mean. All right, come on. Well, I mean, it's kind of funny, but that's mean. All right, so we had talked about Connor Stallions the other night on the show, Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. You should join us. We're live. Join us in the chat there. And Rob from Buckeyes Battle Cry was kind enough to come on last second and hang out with us and talk some football. Great dude, Rob. Buckeyes Battle Cry. They're Pete and Rob are doing some awesome stuff over there. Go subscribe if you're a Buckeye fan or if you're a Michigan fan who just likes to hear from another perspective. Jack Package says, dude certainly puts the cry in Battle Cry. A whole episode of whining about Stallions. Well, that's kind of funny, but ouch. All right, Rob comes back. Stop being a crybaby about a different opinion. The hosts and I were having fun with this. Stop taking things so seriously is what I think he meant there. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, we were just having fun with it. I mean, the Connor Stallions thing has definitely put some people on edge. But I don't think we care enough for it to put us on edge. So it was a fun time. That's all. Scott TD 1903 says regarding Bryce Underwood, everyone needs to stop with any and all comparisons. The kid hasn't even won the job yet and has yet to throw a single pass. Yeah. I have seen comparisons to Vince Young, Cam Newton, and now we're getting JJ and Trevor Lawrence. He isn't going to be as good as any of them his freshman year if he starts. Oh, that's a long one. All right, I'm going to reply to this top one, and then I'll move on. I hear what you're saying. I completely agree. I'm not going to make those comparisons. I'm just saying that other people are making those comparisons. And, yeah, maybe they need to stop. Maybe that's putting pressure on Bryce Underwood. I hope like crazy he's not on the internet because, dude, the pressure he would be feeling, the pressure I would be feeling. Of course, I've never done anything noteworthy in my life. So that's not true. I started a YouTube channel. That was pretty great. And my dad's on it. That's just awesome. Cell phone. But I hear what you're saying. I agree. And I do think that maybe Michigan fans should temper expectations. I mean, he is a true freshman. The kid's 18th birthday is coming up. And I think Savion Hyder said that he was going to commit on Bryce Underwood's birthday. So does that mean he's coming to Michigan? That would be huge. Hey, the other guy from this channel, Cliff Richardson, even Connor Stallions himself said, ... I love it. I don't know what he's talking about. Well, I know what he's talking about, but I can't remember the actual quote. Cisco 302 says, I think we will see Bryce Underwood is a gamer. Once he gets a few games under his belt, this guy will take off. And Michigan has found their identity again on defense. I expect Michigan to challenge for the Big Ten title this year. Could go 11-1. Worst case scenario, this team will be 9-3. I completely agree. I really do. I do think that Michigan, I don't even think they're a dark horse for the Big Ten championship. I think that they're a legit contender. And I'm not going to discount the fact that their season plays a significant role in that. Because Oklahoma is probably their toughest game until they go out to USC. I know some people have said some things about Nebraska. We'll have to wait and see. I don't doubt Nebraska. They've got a great coach. They've got some great players. I just want to see what happens up to that point. So as you're looking at Michigan's schedule right now, does it look like the toughest schedule outside of Oklahoma and Ohio State? Not really, not on paper, but that's why the games aren't played on paper. You know, going out to the West Coast and playing USC, that's not going to be easy. West Coast matchups are not easy, period. Penn State was taken to the wire last year, taken down to the wire last year by USC, and so anything can happen, you know. But that being said, I mean, I'm going to make some judgments about Ohio State, some jokes about Ohio State here real quick. The fact that they don't have a quarterback, and it seems like they have a quarterback problem. Maybe. We'll see. but you never know. I mean, I do think that 12-0 is not necessarily likely, but there's a far better than zero chance that they go 12-0, but I think the likeliest scenario is 11-1, or at least they have 10 wins going into Ohio State. Oh, Ashton Meyer says, Jack is such a crybaby. Quit finding excuses. So soft. Yeah, so that was about Jack, I can't remember his last, Jack Sawyer from Ohio State complaining that, you know, they had this screen pass, the tight end screen pass when they did, you know, the Y sign and delay, and Michigan, how did Michigan figure out that that's a tight end delay or tight end screen? I mean, honestly, because, you know, it's like Connor Stallions said, 99% of offenses use that Y signal for tight ends, and then it was, you know, the delay of game signal. So obviously the tight end is delaying something. What does that mean? And if you actually watch the play, the linebacker doesn't come up on the tight end in question until a little bit after the ball is snapped, and then CJ Stroud still scrambles for 6 yards. So whatever. I already got 301's comment here. Slugs Gaming 5150. I'll make this the last one. Can we do a video on what happens to Alex Orgy? I think we did him dirty. Kirk Campbell should get all the hate. Can Orgy make it to the NFL? Does he have the tools? Definitely not at QB. Man, yeah, I could look into what happened with Alex Orgy and see if we can get some intel there. I don't know that there's really a lot publicly. I think that Alex Orgy probably, I mean, he didn't have a good season last year because Kirk Campbell didn't put the offense in the best position. And I don't want to hate on Kirk Campbell because he was the quarterback's coach when Michigan went for that natty, and that's awesome. I think that's great. It just didn't work out at OC. You know, it happens. And I think Alex Orgy had a bad season. And so that combined with the fact that they were bringing in Bryce Underwood, I mean, was Alex Orgy guaranteed to start this season? No. Was he likely to start? Honestly, probably not. I mean, we all thought coming into 24 that he was going to be the starter, and Davis Warren beat him out. And Davis Warren didn't have exactly the best season ever either. So I think that Alex Orgy has all the athleticism he needs to be a good football player. He just doesn't have the coach right now to make him into what he can be. And can he be a good quarterback? I really don't know, because the way he throws the ball, I mean, he turfed a lot of passes last year. And is that on Kirk Campbell? Is that on whoever the quarterback's coach was? I can't remember his name. Or was that because Alex Orgy is not, maybe his talents lie elsewhere? That's kind of the question. I think he went to UNLV to be a quarterback, so we will get to see him play quarterback this year. And I guess we just kind of have to wait and see what happens there, if he can rebound or not. But I don't know. Obviously, I hope the best for the kid. He seems like a great guy. And hey, I mean, he helped Michigan go into Columbus and beat Ohio State. And that's massive. And frankly, I think they should build a statue to him, to Davis Warren, to Kalel Mullings, to Donovan Edwards. I mean, these players left their mark at Michigan, and they could have phoned it in. They could have gone into that Columbus game and been like, you know what? We're cool with 7-5. You know, it was a bad season. Everything was off the table at that point. There was no CFP. There was no Big Ten championship. Heck, I mean, they were, you know, there were people who were saying that Northwestern had a shot at beating Michigan. And if that had happened, then Michigan might not have gone to a bowl game. But these guys locked in. They dropped 50 on Northwestern, which was an insane feat, frankly, since the offense had trouble going 5 feet, let alone 5 yards. But the fact that they go into Columbus and beat them, I mean, that takes mental fortitude considering where they're coming from with a 7-4 record at that point. And they come out of Columbus 8-4 and then go to a bowl game against Alabama and beat Alabama. It's just wild stuff. And I mean, that means that they had the right attitude coming into those games. They could have phoned it in and they didn't. And that's why I think they deserve a statue. But I want to know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It would just mean a lot to me. It really would. And if you're not subscribed, do so, because otherwise you're just being selfish. Nah, I'm just kidding. But we do really enjoy talking football on this channel. So if you enjoy talking football, go ahead and join us. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Join us Wednesday nights at 8:30 in the chat. Otherwise, we will see you in the next video.